Hello, my name is John Rosebush. This is part two of the disclosure of my new energy invention. I have created a new energy invention that can create between 500 and 1,000 terawatts of power on 80% of the planet through clean, alternative, eco-friendly energy. Now, this is real, folks. This is real. That allows us enough energy to power all our transportation vehicles, for all the electrical needs on 80% of the planet. And maybe we could cover a little more of that because we can always ship electricity through creating hydrogen, liquefying it, shipping it, and then reproducing it back to electricity. So we may even get a little more than that out of it, but we'll go with 80% because that's huge. The other 20% would need other types of alternative energy if we can't ship the energy to it. So that's where we're at with my new invention. And this is about the disclosure of it. But before I do, I want to talk a little bit about how this thing needs to be implemented around the world. It's so critical that we save our oil for future products because we actually create, in the United States, over 6,000 products from oil. That's what are plastics and asphalt and roof shingles, to you name it, to actually women's makeup. I mean, it's incredible how many products and how that really has been able to help form a modern society. Go into a grocery store and look around, see how many plastics. Look in your house. Heck, look at the PC you're working on. Everything is plastics. That's oil, people. That's oil. And we're using it up. Now, it'd be nice if we had that oil around wouldn't it be nice for 5,000, 10,000 years? So we could continue creating these modern products. And wouldn't it also be, one day we're going to have to go ahead and start recycling all this plastic. We're doing some of it, but we're going to have to do a lot of it. If we want people to live on this planet forever, which should be our goal. It's called an ecological balance. Well, we need ecological balance with everything. But at least if we got off fossil fuels, it would go a long ways. Then we can start worrying about population, how much food is being produced, the water, and by able to have enough power, it does a lot of things. That allows us to build desalination plants and stop growing food for energy. You name it, it does so many things. So then we have to, as a social problem, cut back on our population. We could do this through this new energy invention I created. Now, why am I making part two of this before I disclose this product, this new energy invention? Because it's critical that it's a worldwide project. We can't have half the world on off fossil fuels and the other half on fossil fuels. We'd still use them up then. And so all those things I just talked about could not come true. Now, we have poor countries that can't afford to convert over. We have wealthier countries that could, but, we also have these budgets, as we so-call have, like we're 17 trillion debt, United States broke. So, instead of money being a way to prioritize what you work on, it's actually been an inhibitor of what we work on. It stops so many things. And we say, well, then they must not be needed. Well, this time it's needed. This is different. Powering our planet is essential to mankind's survival. So can we afford to save ourselves? I would hope so. But we'll see. Because our world right now is I've got and you don't. It's the have and have-nots. It's the greed. But we need to attack this as a worldwide project. Every single country, every single place on the planet should be off fossil fuels in the next 30, 35 years. And this new energy invention would allow that. All these windmills that we've created, and we put them down, all over the world. Where I live at, southern Indiana. I don't live in southern Indiana, but I know there's a whole bunch down there in different places. We need to actually pack them up and move them to places where this new invention won't work. Because I can create a terawatt of power in about a 3 mile by 3 mile radius. Now, we wouldn't implement that way again. We would distribute it and implement it around the country, but I could create 100 terawatts of power in the United States today The United States uses 1 terawatt of power. That's how powerful this thing is. And I can do that in many places around the world. China could produce 100 terawatts of power. India probably could produce close to 100 terawatts of power. Hell, South Africa can produce a terawatt of power. Just all over the world. England would no longer be having blackouts. I mean, there's so many issues. Clean water could be available all over the world from desalination plants. Southern California, you have all the water you need. There's so many things that this could do. I could talk for 10 hours on all the benefits that we could get from this. And yet, we need to have a worldwide project. It needs to be a complete worldwide project without any thought about who can afford what, because we all need to be off fossil fuels. Now, if we don't do this, then there's no sense in me even giving you this product, this invention, because the only thing you're going to do is fight over it, and one country's got some, the other one don't. Pretty soon they're going to say, well, I don't want you to use oil because, you know, we have air travel, and we don't want to disrupt that because that's going to take years to convert. So you can't have fossil fuels no more. Then wars will break out. I mean, the whole thing has to be done at once, and every country has to assist one another. There has to be technical centers set up on every continent. This is the way this thing has to be implemented. It has to be. And I don't care if people like it, dislike it, oh, that person didn't earn that, or that person didn't earn that. Let me tell you, because of all the corruptness going on in the United States and around the world, most people that have a ton of money did not earn it in the first place. You know, so we know this. We know this. And the exploitation of labor over there and over here, etc., you know, overseas for cheap labor, it's all a big joke. So the whole thing needs to be reconciled. And this energy invention, I believe I can produce energy for 10 cents on the dollar. And the only reason for the 10 cents, again, is because of generators. So, you know, it's critical. It's a worldwide project. It's going to change all of monetary policy around the world. Money's, like in the United States, we're nothing the same in Europe, etc., because a lot of value is placed on energy. And if you're producing energy for 10 cents on the dollar, and actually I believe you'll produce transportation fuels for pennies on the dollar. So it just destroys the value of money around the world. Completely destroys it. Now, you know, the wealthy are going to try to figure out ways to hang on to it and all this stuff. And, you know, all of that's all fine. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of craziness once I give this to the planet. But the planet deserves it. We've got to stop what we're doing. There's not going to be a planet for people to live on. And so this video is talking about it's essential that it becomes a worldwide project. It's essential. One country helps another, which helps another, which we all get help. Now, I've tried to talk about it in the sense that we'll collect royalties, but I'm not even so sure that's even going to matter, because if I destroy the value of money around the world, then we're all going to have to rethink everything again. You know, there's been a lot of talk about a world currency. Well, we may have to start over with everything, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Now, I'm sure that the people that think they have all this money are going to want to hang on to it, and they're terrible. You know, it's just terrible. But it's a good thing, because we have 1.1 billion people in total poverty around this world. You know, this will give energy to Africa, to South America, poor countries, to all around the world. And maybe some wealthier countries won't be able to get very much energy, which is not going to be good in the sense of we got to make that transition. But we can do it, and we can give them alternative energy. And it's critical that, say, one country can't produce energy and a country next to it can produce an overabundance, that is all shared. You know, I don't believe in socialism, but in this case, it's probably necessary. Actually, it is necessary, because we have to get off fossil fuels. It's kind of like saying, well, we have 7 billion people, and we can have 30 billion people. Well, we can't. Someday we're going to have to say, look, we've got enough people. And some people are going to have to put restrictions on it. China's been trying to do it through a harsh way, but at least they've been attempting to do it. The rest of the world keeps burying their heads in sand on every issue there is. But on powering the planet, if you bury your head in the sand, mankind won't exist. So this whole video is trying to tell you that this needs to be a worldwide project. It's just as critical that I found this new invention, that it is also a worldwide project to implement. And the urgency should be now. Plastics is critical to this world. You know, that's even our sewer pipe. if you knew all the products, if you went through the list of over 6,000 products in the United States, a lot of them are essential. And we need them. Now, this is going to create a need for a lot more steel, a lot more copper, etc. It will create needs for other things. This will create so much work around the world that we won't even worry about unemployment for the next 30, 40, 50 years. And we can go back to one thing that built this country and built the world. Hard work will mean something again. We won't be exploiting cheap labor overseas and quit respecting work. In order for our planet to convert to a sustainable planet for the future, it's going to take hard work from everybody on the planet. Now, either we can continue on with what we're doing and bury our heads in the sand, and we can bomb Syria, and Syria can get rid of their poison gases, and we can go to wars over oil some more, and we can do all the things that have got us where we're at. And China, you can continue choking on your air, and so can India, so can many other parts of the world. Or we can come together as a planet. I actually have the invention. It works. It works. And so, it's going to be very difficult for me to disclose this to the world without the world coming together. Don't you understand the importance of us coming together for a worldwide project? Because that's the only way this works. Even with the invention, if half the world does and the other half don't, and some countries that have nuclear weapons don't, we could be facing nuclear wars. This is so real. It's critical that we actually come together. Imagine what the world would be like if every country knew every other country was trying to help it. We can create a world that, oh my God, for the next 10,000 years, people will just be amazed. There really will only be 3 types of energy in the future: electricity, compressed air, and hydrogen. Because those are the 3 things that can be created from alternative energy. Which alternative energy, for the people that don't understand, is energy created without fossil fuels, without any feedstocks. Now, if you can create energy without feedstock, you're not using up any resources, and yet you're creating energy. That's what this does, people. It preserves all our carbon resources, and really mainly our oil for our products. Oil is really about making products, not about creating energy. It doesn't make sense for us to be burning something. So we're burning up a fossil fuel, and then we have to convert that, because that's exactly how things work, for creating electricity. And we turn around and we create steam from it. And then the steam turns around and runs a generator, and then that creates energy. Now, natural gas does run a motor, and it converts it that way. But I have created something that's so efficient, people are going to be amazed. It's going to take so much effort to build our grids to where they're safe. We're going to have to create hydrogen backup storage facilities around our major cities for backup purposes. We're going to have to create hydrogen at all our gas stations. We can do it. We're doing it now. We can convert our trucks to burn up hydrogen. We can convert our cars to. Compressed air and combustible engines work the same way. The only difference is a combustible engine creates an explosion which compresses the air, and a compressed air vehicle, you compress the air ahead of time. We have the technology to convert everything. We have the knowledge. And now we have the knowledge on how to create electricity. That puts everything together. Now, what do we want to do? Continue with our greed or save mankind? That is your choice. This is the end of part 2, and part 3 will be about the disclosure of this new energy invention. I thank you.